Blackstone Audio presents Tyrant of the Mind by Priscilla Royal. This book is read by Wanda McCaddon. To Henny Lentz, for so much, but especially giving me focus. Thou tyrant, tyrant, jealousy, thou tyrant of the mind. John Dryden, Love Triumphant, Act 3, Scene 1, Song of Jealousy, 1694. Chapter 1. Brother Thomas shattered the film of ice in the basin with the edge of his hand, then gingerly splashed the freezing water into his eyes, rubbing them clean of the gritty residue of his sleepless night. Father Anselm, the resident priest of Wynethorpe Castle, whose room he had been invited to share, must have already left to perform mass, he thought, running his wet hands down his cheeks to soften the thick auburn stubble. He winced with the stinging cold. Although he had always been a fastidious man, today he hated the idea of scraping his flesh clean of beard. The morning had such a piercing chill. "I'm growing soft," the young monk muttered, as he reached for a curved razor. Despite his loathing for the desolation of Tyndal, a priory on the North Sea coast where he had lived since last summer, he had never lacked for warm water there when it came time for his weekly shave. Faced with these more Spartan conditions, he realized he had grown quite used to those previously unacknowledged comforts in recent months. With irony-tinged amusement, he found himself longing for Tyndal. "Fuck!" he said, cutting himself. His penance for missing mass, he decided, as he grabbed a thin shard of ice from the basin and held it against the wound until the numbing water ran clear of pink blood. With a wry twitch of his mouth, Thomas quietly thanked his Saxon friends from the village near the priory for teaching him some of their more colourful words. His own Anglo-Norman tongue often lacked the hard sound that was so satisfying in such frustrating moments. Bloodied but clean-shaven, Thomas left the comparative warmth of Father Anselm's room, walked down the tortuously curved stone steps past the great hall, and emerged into the chaos of an early morning in the inner ward of a working castle. As a child he had spent time in one of his father's castles, but this god-forsaken pile of rock bore no resemblance to that. Wynethorpe was not only cramped for space, it also had the dubious distinction of lying in the wilds along the Welsh border. A primitive place for cert, but Thomas knew he had only himself to blame for being here. Wynethorpe belonged to his prioress's father, the Baron Adam, and when illness in the family demanded that Prioress Eleanor journey back...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?